The MonsterVerse is quite the intriguing franchise. Despite many of them not being hugely successful comparatively to their budget, it's still going to this day with a new TV show and movie. And within that franchise there's plenty of hits and misses in terms of decisions, but one of the weirdest ones has to be its lowest grossing movie, Godzilla King of the Monsters. Released mere weeks after the second highest grossing film of all time, Avengers Endgame, and bombarded by quite negative reviews, it was a bizarre choice for a third entry, an almost Infinity War type movie, introducing an absolutely huge amount of characters in one movie that felt like an end-of-world scenario. As well as a bizarrely stacked cast, it's certainly confusing. Like, just imagine telling someone even a decade ago that a movie like this would be made. Big budget Godzilla film with several fan favorite characters all duking it out in this monster mash type film. They would just laugh. But now it's here and it's not bad? So let's not waste any more time and get into it. The film begins with a pretty decent idea, showing Ford and the others skydiving in that iconic scene, but placing it in the background to show an insider's perspective on the chaos. It is here we meet some of our characters. Mark, played by Kyle Chandler, who was in King Kong 2005, so by the time we reach Godzilla vs. Kong, he'll be in two different iterations of the character. And Emma, played by Vera Farmiga from the Conjuring franchise. They're out looking for their kid named Andrew, but in the chaos, all they see is Godzilla rising up and roaring. Again, all pretty good. It's a neat way to show how other people are dealing with this event, and makes it feel even bigger, placing it just outside of some huge event like Transformers Dark of the Moon with the moon landing, except not as poorly written as that movie. We meet Emma in the present, who's looking at some exposition-heavy news about how the world is going to shit. Oh yeah, again, this is an apocalypse movie. I always seem to forget that because of how quickly the world seems to recover in the next one. We also see some news about Monarch and how they may be hiding more monsters.
Discovered since the attacks of 2014, a historic tragedy that changed the world as we know it forever. The day the world discovered that monsters are real.
Pretty sure when Godzilla and the Mutos attacked Hawaii or Las Vegas would be the day the world discovered monsters are real, but they were around the same time, so I guess they just grouped it together. We also meet Madison, played by Millie Bobby Brown, in a role mere months before Stranger Things Season 3 would come out, although she was already pretty big by this point, so still. She's however not a big character in this movie, feeling like more of a ploy to get teenagers in the audience, seeing a character their age, and also a famous actress their age. And she isn't really developed that much. Neither is Emma, but she's kinda memorably psychotic.
Madison, I just don't want to see you get hurt.
I know.
Especially with everything that's going on right now.
I know.
Listen, I know things haven't been easy for you. But we're going to get through this.
Wow. Compelling dialogue. Not at all cliche in the least. However, it's revealed their house is near a Monarch outpost in China. They meet up with Mr. Clark from Stranger Things, played by Randy Havens. They see Mothra, one of the Titans introduced in the film. She hatches into a larva, and despite containment going off and soldiers shooting at her, she doesn't kill any of them, as she isn't one of the antagonists. She just shoots them with her webs. However, she's still a threat, which causes Emma to use the Orca, a device that allows them to use Titan frequencies to talk and or alter Titan behavior. This briefly works until some eco-terrorists join in, one of them called Jonah, played by Charles Dance in a criminally underused role. It's like they took a look at how Bryan Cranston and Samuel L. Jackson were used in the previous installments and went even worse in their development, having little to none in this film. He immediately shoots Mr. Clark in a brutal way, with the glass behind him shattering. A nice effect. We cut to a Monarch Senate hearing with Sam, played by Thomas Middleditch. We meet again with Dr. Serizawa and Vivian as they give their speeches and how the Titans are like super awesome and stuff. Something funny to note is the footage they show of Kong very briefly is I'm pretty sure the footage John Goodman's character Randall shot. And like if you know how he dies, it's kind of confusing how they got that footage. Did someone sift through the Skullcrawler's shit for it or something? We meet up again with Mark, who's photographing wolves, until he's interrupted by Dr. Serizawa and the others as they convince him to join. He learns that there's about 17 Titans, mostly in hibernation. However, the most believable part is that one's in Wyoming, and nobody noticed up until this point. They reach another Monarch outpost, an oil rig, and get inside where we meet more characters. Following the trend of every disaster movie having a super bloated cast, with half of them confined to just looking at screens and saying ominous lines. However, after watching San Andreas, 2012, and The Day After Tomorrow in little over a week, it's not as annoying. We learn some more about Jonah, first name Alan, who's once a British Army colonel. Would have been interesting had he been Tom Hiddleston's character from Skull Island, seeing a continuation of his character going against Monarch, kind of a radical reaction to seeing how these things can restore order. But alas, like most characters in this franchise, they don't return in future roles. Also, Anthony Ramos is in this movie as Martinez, a role I completely forget every time he's off-screen, which is a lot of the time. Also, Ice Cube's son, O'Shea Jackson Jr. is in this as Barnes. Also, Bradley Whitford is in it as Rick, along with Zhang Zi as Chen, if I even pronounce that right. Zhang Zi, I think. They discuss Titan DNA in the black market and how to get one step ahead of Jonah's team. The head of the team, this team, Colonel Foster, played by Aisha Hinds, wants Monarch to go out and find Mothra, but Mark suggests this may be a diversion to get a real important Titan, maybe like Monster Zero, or like literally Monster Zero since I know what happens in this film. He's also on the side that they should kill the Titans, a little similar to Joe Brody since they both lost a loved one to these Titans. Well, with Joe it was the Mutos, but it's still similar, so maybe these writers realized how good of a plot point it was and wanted to recycle it. However, here it's done less well, simply because it's not Bryan Cranston, despite Kyle Chandler being a good actor, and because it's not really central to the movie. Meanwhile, Jonah and his team, along with Emma and Madison, reach a Monarch outpost in Antarctica and quickly kill the team there. Off-screen. Lame. Also, guess these guys didn't get the memo that there were terrorists attacking Monarch outposts. Wish they put up a better fight at least. But they were taken off guard, so I guess it makes some sense. They go down underground and find Monster Zero, also known as King Ghidorah, with a legitimately cool design. They start drilling into the ice and Emma begins finding Ghidorah's frequency as Mark watches some home videos, shading in his character a little bit. However, shit starts going down as Godzilla appears near the station, but since it's all blue, it makes it a little harder to see and enjoy these special effects. Whatever, still a cool scene that's both beautiful and frightening. They realize that Godzilla's changing his hunting ground because he realizes that something is wrong. Something like Antarctica, which they go to and engage in a fight. Monarch's G team gets quickly taken out because they all suck, and briefly engage in a discussion to try and convince Emma not to blow up the ice and free Ghidorah, but she does it anyways. Remember, she's psychotic. Even though Foster and Mark both have ample opportunities to either shoot Jonah or shoot the detonator out of Emma's hand, they just wait until shit goes wrong. Wow, you guys suck. Why is the military or any group of special forces always shit in these monster movies? Ghidorah gets freed, and people escape as Ghidorah starts wreaking havoc on the outpost, killing the soldiers in a legitimately cool scene. Ghidorah is one of the better parts of the movie and is a pretty cool villain. All three of the heads have a distinct personality. One of them, named Kevin by the fandom, is the least aggressive and most curious of the group. The right head is the most aggressive, whereas the one in the center is the one keeping them in line and the leader. It may sound silly, but stuff like this adds to their character and makes it feel more engaging to watch, picking up on little things. If the humans are generic, at least the monsters aren't.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
Oh yeah, and the obligatory one F-bomb drop in a PG-13 movie. When the helicopters can't take off, and it seems all's lost until a familiar Titan comes up, Godzilla. They fight and Godzilla gets defeated, while Vivian gets killed and promptly forgotten about. Okay, weird. She wasn't a big character, but damn. Give a bit more importance to her passing. Some of the reinforcements arrive and help get Ghidorah to leave. They end up going in the direction of Isla Damara, which is where another Titan is, and are evacuating the citizens. However, they get a call from Emma, desperate to give herself some important screen time. She is basically justifying herself and her actions, saying, the world has gone to shit via humans. It's technically correct, just it's not done well here. It feels added on, as even in the next movie, it doesn't feel like the world was just recovering from an apocalypse. However, she does bring up a good point, that wherever the Titans go, their radiation leaves the plants in a state of replenishment, which is somewhat true in real life, but it's more so light doses of radiation, so it's still fictitious. The outpost in Isla Damara gets shut off as our last and final Titan, Rodan, breaks free. We get another pretty good action sequence as the city is destroyed, with some pretty cool spectacle and honestly, impressive special effects. This is the same as the Transformers franchise, although this franchise is better. They at least have great effects and music in all of them. Oh yeah, and Charles Dance continues being way too good for what little he's given, whom I'm pretty sure almost fell asleep watching this film. Back with the humans, they talk to Admiral Stantz, who is in Godzilla 2014, who tells them about the oxygen destroyer they can use. Here is another interesting character that gets painfully underutilized, the well-meaning but arrogant Admiral who gets people killed. This was further displayed in his death scene, but it was deleted, so maybe he can come back and have an actually interesting character arc for once. Rodan gets led to Ghidorah by the humans, and they engage in a fight, wherein he loses. However, Godzilla is here to fight and kills Kevin, who then gets regrown, losing all of his personality, which sucks. However, while Kevin was killed, the oxygen destroyer was launched, and Godzilla was fatally harmed. Although this plays out the exact same as when trying to kill Optimus Prime, he's not gonna actually die. He's just temporarily out of the picture, but they do it nonetheless. Although I do like how balls crazy this movie is, even with showing Ghidorah's head coming back in his alien-sounding roar. Absolutely haunting stuff. However, the religious aspect of it is weird, since I'm pretty sure it's revealed Ghidorah is just a straight-up alien, but it's still eerie and unsettling. An assload of other Titans get called and start coming out of the ground as Mothra finally awakens from her cocoon, ready to fight. Oh yeah, the group also figures out what I told you, that Monster Zero's name is Ghidorah and that he's an alien, or that they're an alien. Felt like that was kinda obvious. Back with Jonah and Emma, she suggests amplifying the Orca's device frequencies in Boston to stop all this madness and end Ghidorah, but it ends up being Madison who does it. Meanwhile, Mothra tries communicating with Godzilla, but one-sided relationships don't really last that long, so in order for him to properly respond, Dr. Zero blows the shit out of his napping area. Being serious, this is a sad scene. Dr. Serizawa isn't a complex character, but he helps develop Mark and go through something of an arc in relation to liking the Titans and understanding their danger but also benefits. While it's nothing amazing, upon a rewatch, I actually start to like these characters more, and notice subtle moments of character change and overall more moments that solidified who these characters were and their beliefs. So when Serizawa sacrifices himself, it's legitimately sad and you feel for him. He's a likable character we've known now for 2 movies. Just wish it was like that for the other characters. In between this, we briefly see Washington DC getting attacked, which I wish was where the third act took place, so much more visually appealing than Boston, but okay. Godzilla awakens and decides the first thing to do is to spit pure radiation into the sky. Nice. Ghidorah arrives in Boston and starts, wrecking stuff. Until Godzilla arrives with the help of Monarch. Rodan and Mothra also fight, wherein Rodan gets defeated. Kinda lame how underutilized he was, but hey, at least Mothra is alive. Are you fucking kidding me? Mothra transfers their energy to Godzilla, who uses it to absolutely blast the shit out of Ghidorah, killing them. Oh yeah, Emma also sacrifices herself as well. The film ends with all the other Titans bowing down to Godzilla as he roars. And that was Godzilla King of the Monsters. Not bad, but not amazing either. Look, I know not many really care about the characters in these movies, but they're always a weak point, even in this one. They're cliched, underdeveloped, and not very interesting. Plus, there's way too many of them, so a lot of them are just relegated to sitting in boardrooms or in chairs for a majority of it, so it sucks. And yeah, sometimes the action is hard to see, and the blue on blue makes it all blend together, but honestly, it's a fun time. If you see it as a silly, cheesy film with some great monster action, you're gonna get that. It has some great action scenes and a fast enough pace to keep you from getting bored, but I wouldn't recommend watching this a lot as it feels a lot with how much action there is. It remains a fun enough movie to watch with some friends and popcorn and a decent enough time. I hope you enjoyed this video. You can follow me on Instagram or TikTok to see what I'm posting and things of that nature. I really enjoy making these videos, so I hope you enjoy watching them and consider seeing some of my other videos that you may like. I'll try to cover the sequel soon, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.